Pandafold is a desktop application for Windows, Mac, or Linux that makes it very easy to go from 3D models to patterns for sewing. The model I have loaded here is a fursuit head for a zebra. Let's take a quick look at this project to get an idea of how Pandafold works. Let's take a look at the Model tab here. This is where we create seams and cut patterns. The blue lines on this model represent the seams that we want to cut, and the black and white areas show the various patterns and their associated colors. If we want to switch to a distortion-based view, we can get an idea of how well each of these patterns fits the model. An area that is red is tight and blue is loose. It's up to us to add darts, gussets, or split patterns into multiple pieces to improve the fit. All of this really depends on the requirements that you have for your project. The arrows on the patterns indicate the grain line or orientation of the pattern and how it will fit on the model. The Layout tab is where we create layouts to lay out our 2D flattened patterns. From here, we can export our patterns to PDF for printing, SVG for laser cutting, or open the projection window to project the patterns directly on fabric. If we zoom in, we'll see that each pattern is marked with an ID. In this case, this one's 99. The arrow here points in this direction of the grain line as it was set on the 3D model, and each one of the associated seams is marked here, along with the material associated with this pattern. If we click on this pattern, we can then see the patterns that it's associated with. So for example, this tells us that this seam here is called FK and it connects to pattern 102. If I go over here, we'll see that there's an FK seam here and it connects to pattern 99. All of this text, seam labels, and IDs are created automatically for you by Pandafold. You don't have to individually lay these items out. The view here shows the individual pieces of paper that we would print if we exported this to PDF, giving us an idea of how many patterns we would need to cut and how many sheets of paper we would need. If we want to rearrange our patterns from here, we can just simply drag them, or we can click on them to rotate them to improve our overall efficiency when cutting. If our project is too big to fit on a sheet of paper, we can alternatively use the built-in projector patterning. From here, we can set our cutting mat size and calibrate our cutting mat to match the projected cutting mat that we have set up on our fabric. Then we can switch to project mode, and immediately our patterns can be projected accurately onto our fabric, allowing us to mark them and then cut them out. Lastly, we have the Materials tab. From here, we can set up and configure the fabrics associated with our project. This allows us to have a catalog or build sheet to associate with our project. From here, we can also set the display color, which is used when rendering the model, and we can also set the pile depth or the thickness of the fabric as needed. Thank you for checking out these videos about Pandafold. It's very much alpha software right now. I'm working on it full time to improve it as quickly as I possibly can. I'm using it to make my current projects that I'm working on, and I hope that it's useful for you as well. If you want to support me in this effort, please join my Patreon, and you can find ways there to subscribe that will give you access to the current version of the software. These videos will show you as you're watching that the software is not perfect at all times, but it does work and it seems to be reasonably stable and it is useful for doing projects. If you join me on this adventure, you'll be helping me to support myself while I'm doing this, and you'll also be able to use the software to build your own projects. I'm excited and I hope that you join me on this journey.